Lock the door, turn out the light. The hungry Oni haunts the night. Hide and tremble, little one. The Oni wants to have some fun. Hear it scratching on the door. See its shadow cross the floor. The sun won't rise for a little while. Till then beware, the Oni smile. I started today's video with slam poetry for a very important reason. I remember this monster more than most, because that poem is how it is described in the 5th edition monster manual. The poem is labeled within the thing as a children's rhyme, and comes with a menacing effect that makes me, at the very least, feel uneasy. So first I want to break down what makes this effective, then I'll try to figure out how to recreate it and enhance a D&D game with it. So the first element that stood out to me was its place in world building. Not all world building is history, so my favorite pieces are normally tiny little chunks in the setting. So right here, it's not simply that we have a menacing poem, it's that specifically known among children. It is a children's rhyme. It keeps them scared, which they should be. A monster might seek them out. Your character might have even heard this one growing up. Your character that now rises to fight these monsters, if you think about how that might have affected their perception of the world. One of my first characters was a druid who was intensely paranoid, always watching for monsters and curses. Normally he was the first one to say we shouldn't touch something because everything could be a magical bewitchment, curse, or other unknown means of attack. He grew up with his father, the character's father, and his father was a hero, so he was told stories about his many heroic deeds. And these would include many helpless victims that Ettercaps might have consumed. He might have been told about a monk who picked up a bone knife, saw something, and never quite acted the same after. He was told about how goblins once destroyed and took over a large chunk of land using nothing but a single magic item that was found in some ancient ruins. How you are taught to view magic and monsters is its own world building, and it's something you as a player can influence, or as a DM, you can describe what they might have once been told. This has a very powerful effect, because in games where what would probably be just a ghost or a ghoul or something, I, as a player, because I remember this little rhyme, I will search for Oni first. I will check for if that might be what's about. Now, we can also observe that the rhyme is intentionally vague. It's meant to invoke a very specific feeling, that is dread. So we open with the fact that it's dark, the fact that you should be scared, then we introduce our monster. And as we move through and we move into the second stanza, it establishes he's seeking you out. You aren't collateral damage, you are the goal. This is a very important distinction in the context of a fantasy setting, because not all monsters are that way. Centaurs, for example, just want to migrate, and sometimes your city blocks the path and that upsets them. Many monsters just want you out of their territory, so when you run, they let you. This one seeks out individuals. It says, I want to destroy a human. I will consume a human. And it influences the fear factor of this specific monster. We get the final line in the rhyme, and it's the only actual description of the monster within the children's rhyme, right? Till then beware, the Oni smile. So that invokes a very specific imagery, firmly locking into your head, and it's a creepy imagery too, because a smile from a malicious creature is to be feared. There's also the structure or whatever as poems do, but we're gonna ignore that for now because I don't want to pull out the poetry analysis notes from 5th grade. And this is far from a unique instance. I'm gonna give you another one that I found somewhere else in the book that I think also helps invoke emotion and helps establish world building and helps keep you engaged with the game. They break before our shields, they fall before our blades, their home is ours to conquer, their children are our slaves. That is a hobgoblin war chant. It's not scary in the same way, because that's coming from a encouraging message within the setting. Imagine you're hearing that cry in a foreign language as someone's about to charge on you. Pretty big effect. So the primary thing that these do is they hit a piece of world building and then they provide a feeling, something that sets the tone for how we are going to think about this monster, how we are going to think about this location, how we are going to think about this session. Here's what I would do. I would set them up to where it's something you can read to the players right before a session begins. So for example, a while back, I had a session where they went and they visited a church that was occupied by ghosts. And it was wiped out by a line of snow and wind, and They basically died during the winter. So if I were to go and take that and pull that to the present, before the session started, I would have done this little vibe check. The bare taste of snow, the wind's rotten blow, the death of a church was a sickening lurch. Watch for the people, watch the great steeple. This would have been the last message from the followers of Churn. So right here, it's a cold realm, which the players already know. They were in Icewind Dale area, which the players already knew, but it kind of helps remind you, because sometimes it's easy to forget how unpleasant adventure is. And it's foreshadowing a group of ghosts that were knocked out by evil winds long ago. They were a religious bunch in the setting and have been preserved, ending to it, making sure it's still in good condition. We have this nice little piece of context that people of the realm might have heard, that the players might have heard, that we use to set up how they should go about finding the next holy relic in their mighty quest. I think these are neat. Thank you for your time. See you next week.